A very good afternoon. 15 minutes to afternoon. I am always ahead in my wishing. Okay. A very good morning and afternoon, Club One, to all the participants and all the guests at all the centers. And we have with us Professor Manoj Kumar Pandey, and who has his degrees from University of Delhi. And I am happy to share that he has worked with several DRDO projects also, and he has his expertise in VHSIC, very high speed VLSI, and VLSI, very large scale integrated circuit. And he has worked with IBM also, then with different software companies, and then he joined as a director at presently working as director at SRM University NCR campus Ghaziabad, Uttar Pradesh. And he will be interacting with us on two themes: one, e-governance for rural empowerment, and in the afternoon on ecopreneurship, challenges and opportunity. I welcome you, sir, on behalf of NITTTR Chandigarh, and it is up to you to interact with us.
Thank you very much, Mr. Amar Dev ji, Dr. MP Punia ji, Director of NTTR, all present over here, all these centers, those who are connected on the video mode, and the people from SRM University NCR campus sitting in the front row, Dr. Gupta, Dr. Agrawal, Dr. Chaturvedi, I can see. The topic for today's topic is the e-governance for the rural empowerment. The governance is basically associated with the carrying out the functions and achieving the result of the governance through the utilization of ICT information. And it is a two-way. While the governance is related to the safeguarding the legal rights of all the citizens, and in another way, an equally important aspect is concerned with ensuring the equitable access to public services and the benefits of the economic growth to all. It also ensures that the government to be transparent in its dealing. It should be accountable for its activities and faster in its responses to be the is a example of the good governance. Normally the examples of becoming the faster in response, sometimes the government is making a lots of plan in the future. However, they were very much slow in the response. The example we have seen many of the mainly in the Delhi elections recently. However, this could require the government to change itself in process, in outlook, in laws, in rules and regulations, and also its way of interacting with the citizens. It would also require capacity building within the government and creation of the general awareness about the e-governance among the citizens. Today my discussion is based on the e-governance and what all the possibilities and what all the opportunities or the challenges in the path of implementing the e-governance for the rural empowerment. In fact, the today's talk is mainly a collection of the information from various sources, and I would like to get it more interactive, to make it more interactive, and more suggestions from your side. Thank you very much for providing me the opportunity. The creator of the transparent governance with increased efficiency and more responsibility along with the accountability. The e-governance is a system by which each citizen can make contact with the government through a website where all forms, the legislations, the news, other information that can be available 24/7. E-governance is to support and simplify the government for all parties, the government, citizen, the businessman, and so on. Now the point is, what are the requirements? The basic infrastructure such as the computers, the internet for the majority of the people who want to access the information or who want to avail the services. Moreover, the trained personnel to deal with the day-to-day transformation, transactions, and also to deal with the emergencies, and of course, a good level of high awareness about the public awareness about the presence, uses, advantages of these type of facilities. Now, let me go across what all the projects has been so far initiated by the government as implemented and at what stage they are. What are the hurdles in the path of their implementation? In that, the e-Chopal it is the scheme at which linked the farmers, which is the main stakeholders for the economy of the country today. And the information that reaches to the farmer and the way their response to the information is important for the economy of the India. We all know that in Indian economy, most of the portion is depend upon the agriculture only. So it is that e-Chopal was implemented, and it is a scheme which links the farmers to market and supplies them information and technique which enhances their productivity and low transactions cost, the operational areas. And this project was implemented in the for the farmers of the Karnataka, and it was successful in the sense the area that area people has started getting the information in time, what type of crop to be implemented and what type of weather is to be followed up in future. So the farmers was highly got beneficial with this project. However, there are some of the shortcomings also that I will mention in my later course. Other one is the Bhumi. Bhumi is an e-governance project for the computerized delivery of land record for the farmers to the government owned kiosk on the state of the Karnataka again. Under this project, about 20 million land records of 6.7 million landowners in 176 talukas of Karnataka has been computerized. Moreover, after seeing the success of this project in the Karnataka, many other states, including the Uttarakhand, even in Delhi, they had also implemented and providing the information regarding the land, what all the utilities, land utilities, what all the areas spare for the government projects and all about. Now the accelerated regulation reforms and community level food security through convergence approaches, and this project covers around 17,642 families representing untouchable communities, forest-based tribes, backward communities, and women who are small and marginal farmers and the agricultural laborers. Now the main point is the challenges. We are living in India, the country who have a very diversified community in terms of the language, in terms of the religion, in terms of the remoteness of their land. So in that there are many challenges, the mindset the people they are having, and that to face these challenges, to implement these type of projects is become really very difficult in the country. Moreover, the country where the literacy rate is very slow, and the mindset, the attitude of the people is not to implement the latest technology is very much difficult. I can give you an example. When we are developing a software for the Sena Bhavan, and we had done an ERP system, we had implemented one ERP system for the DRD Sena Bhavan. In that, there are two categories of the people. One is the top management, who really want their system to be computerized, their system to be forwarded, and their information systems should be in place. The other side, the person, those who are working over there, those who are very much reluctant to learn the new technology, and the age of 50 and onward, they are very much slow in learning the new technologies. And when we implemented that project, that ERP, Now, while taking the requirement, because requirement we have to take from the end users, and taking requirement itself, we faced a lots of problem because of the end user is not ready to interact and ready to provide their requirements to the developer. And while after development, after completion of the project, it become more difficult to train them, because it took me approximately 1 to 2 days to train on them to catch a mouse and click at a particular place. So this is the depth of the literacy, the computer literacy, mainly in the India, in the country. So the challenges are very wide, and how to cope up that is some of the way, some of the methods I had collected for you. In that, the slow coordination, and of course, is the corruption, law and order, and restricted hour of working, and old patterns of the working, the social hindrances, cyber law that is not that much effective, then political instability, different languages, lack of content development for the rural poor are some of the challenges that is really becoming a blocking reason for the e-governance to be implemented for the rural communities. So the e-governance development of the isolated rural communities. E-governance has been considered as an ideal tool to speed up the development process in developing countries all over the world. Either it is India is concerned or in any other part of the world is concerned. It is the same story for all type of developing countries all over the world. Dealing with problems such as the corruption, the bureaucracy that are traditionally associated with the developing countries, and the promises of the improved standards of the living in the driving force is the driving force behind the various e-governance initiatives that are being launched by these countries. The reach of the e-governance initiative in these countries, however, varies greatly, and the various factors that influence the choice of implementing e-governance are: they may be economics factor, they may be social, they may be geographical, or they may be demographical. So this often leads to the implementation of a digital divide, and in no case is the digital divide greater than in the case of the isolated rural villages. And the digital divide might be better referred to as the e-gap. And we have now the two communities. One is living in the rural, in the urban areas of the country, who are very much tech savvy and having in the technical reach. And other is the villages, the rurals, the remote areas, where there is a very big gap because of certain reasons, maybe the region I had just discussed just before. And because of that, a great gap has been introduced in between these two communities, and wherein the stakeholders in the community, in the economy, are more in the rural area than in the urban area. So, what are the isolated rural communities? What are the communities that I'm talking about? I'm talking about to whom, to empower whom? To empower the places, the communities where we have lack of transport connections. Even we are talking about the reaching to the 21st centuries today. But even though if you go to the remote areas, remote villages of many states, a proper transport connections are still is a dream for them. Moreover, the communication facilities are inadequate. Communication, that is the road communication and the digital communication, are not that much to be implemented, and we can talk about the e-governance. More important is the energy supply, non-existence or highly erratic. We are living in a place, even in my place where we are staying in the UP, Even 6 to 7 hour electricity cut is a normal thing. And if you talk about the remote areas where there is either no energy and there is no supplement sources of the energy is available, in that will be the great challenge to implement the e-governance. And those type of rural communities we are talking about. People are culturally or ethically different. India is a place where after every 5 kilometers the language changes. And maybe every state, the social and cultural ethnically different. So in that, it will be very difficult to implement a similar concept, and a similar process cannot be implemented. Another one is the weak economic situation. We are talking about the communities, those who cannot afford to have a small electronic gadget. And in that, without the intervention of the government, we cannot talk about having the high-end computers and high-end uh, uh, internet connections and the other resources of the energy we cannot talk about. But what to do? Potentials of e-governance in associated rural communities. The problem that the implementation of the e-governance can help to solve for isolated rural communities are: what way we can solve the problems of the people, of those who are sitting in isolated rural communities, locations, is number one, the problem of agricultural population. Right now, as I said in the beginning, India is an agricultural country. In that, if the farmers do not get the right information about their crop, what crop to be planted, and what will be the weather, what will be the water situation there, and what will be the what all other agricultural related information, then it become to talk about the e-governance is become very much reluctant. Problem of lack of information on government policies and services. Many areas, even in the remote areas, we are talking about the places where the people do not have any public information system set up by the government. Those who are lacking of the information, lacking of the policies, lacking on their own right, we cannot talk about the implementation of the e-governance before we can empower them of having all these facilities to be implemented in their areas. Another one is problem of low education level is the another great problem in the rural areas of the most of the part of the country. As per the survey, now if you take as a holistic the rate of education in India and the percentage of education in India is approximately 65 to 70%. And if you move to the rural area, it becomes very much depressing. And most of the places in the remote rural area, the drop rate is very much high. The drop rate after 5th is approximately 70-80%. And after 7th, after 8th, it is more, so on. So in that way, the education and especially the computer literacy has become a difficult task. Moreover, the attitude of the government agencies to implement the computer education in schooling system has become very much reluctant. So without that, we cannot talk about the e-governance. Other one is the problem of limited health services. As the name shows, it is self-explanatory. Now, what all the services that we have talked about that to be provided to all the villages, all the areas, and so that they can be empowered. To solve the above problem, the government should create a website that acts as a one-stop solution to the above problem. the various aspects of the website, in my opinion, should be on the agriculture. There should have been integration of services from the meteorological department, from the geological department, and from other concerned departments. On the government policies and schemes, the usual sites for the government should be maintained, and that should be sufficient. On education, and just the person before me already have discussed about how the e-education can be implemented in all the education institutions, e-governance or e-commerce that can be implemented in all the education systems. So on education, the e-learning should be managed by the Ministry of Human Resource Development, and in a common approach they should be delivering all the information, and the same system should be implemented to all the education systems. Because of the lack of the experience in the field with respect to the rural communities. On health services, the concept of offering such services via the internet has been successfully implemented around the world, and that can be implemented also. And then operational and infrastructure problem, like many things, the achieving the above easier said than done. The physical infrastructure and its operation is a major hurdle. To fill the e-gap, the operational problem that exists in the ground will first have to be solved, and some of these problems that need immediate action will be the technically trained manpower for operating the computer. As said, as the Make in India initiative taken by the government, and government has also started talking about the skilled manpower. So it is a highly scared, scarcity is there, the trained manpower in terms of the rural area and the remote rural area in particular. So the technically trained manpower to operate the computer is essential. Other one is electricity for upgrading for the operating, the setup and the connectivity of the internet. That are the essential and most prominent thing that has to be implemented in the first go. Then what way to solve the infrastructure problem? Or the possible solution to the above problem include the following. The problem of technical manpower. To solve this problem, we must consider two approaches. One is regular presence approach. Now, apart from that, to include the computer education or the skill enhancement based education in the schooling system is very much important. I was attending a conference, a meeting with the CBSC chairman, Mr. Bineet Joshi, some day before. In that, one strategy has been planned for the school system, that they are going to implement some skill based approach to be included in the schooling syllabus itself, so that at least the dropout, those who are dropout from the 8th class, 10th class, they can have some kind of skill, maybe in the computer field also, and that may be the people, that may be the technical people that can be utilized for implementing the e-governance in the remote areas, in the rural remote areas. Then the weekly visit approach. The regular presence approach may be adopted in the communities that have a larger population, relative cases of access, and the prospects of great financial returns. The same factors will determine the frequency of the visit in the weekly approach. And the same way, the energy and the electricity problem also to be rectified. Now the trends in the e-governance. There are various types of e-government in literature. Gartner, an international e-business research consultancy firm, has formulated a 4-phase governance model. This e-governance model can serve as a reference for the government to position where a project fit in the overall solution evolution of an e-governance strategies. In that, phase 1 is the information, and that is being present on the web. Then providing the external public, that is government to G2C and G2B, government to corporate and government to business, with the relevant information. The value to the public is the government information is publicly accessible, and processes are described and they become more transparent, which proves the democracy and the service. Second is information. The information between the government and the public is stimulated with various applications. People can ask questions via email, use search engines for information, and are to be downloaded all sort of forms and the documents. Third one is the transaction. The complexity of the technology is increasing, but the customer value will also be higher. Now, the internal process that has to be redesigned to provide the services. Complete transactions can be done without going to the office, and the transformation will be all transformation systems are integrated, and the public can get G2C. I'll focus more on what the G2C and G2B means. Services at one corner, one single point of contact for all services is the ultimate, will be the ultimate goal. Impact on the technology. The 24/7 service model, that system and proposals have to be adopted to a completely new service model. Intake processes are made self-services, and even in the middle of the higher citizens should to the purchase for made the self-service, and even in the middle of the night a citizen should get immediate response about the status of the application, about the email that should be sent through any mean of communication. Need for content. Then websites consist of content that government should have to collect, to produce, and constantly will be in charge of keeping the information up to date. Security. Because we are putting all the information, all the resources in the public, in that the security become an important issue. As the government move its core process to the internet, like any system, it become more vulnerable to the extent attacks. These attacks can be prevented by using tools such as antivirus software, encryption, and technology, authentic identification tools. And one expert is sitting over here also regarding security and privacy, with the government having access to detailed information about clients and business, which is sometimes shared among all other offices. The privacy of these citizens and businesses can be in danger. So therefore, the government is responsible for the utilization and protection of the private information. Now, the e-governance in development. Now, what are the examples? What all the people, what all the countries they are really in development or in the process to implement the e-governance? In one of the African countries, I think it is Ghana, there was a number of institutions and companies developing electronic information system catering to various information needs to different categories of the user. Now, in that, what type of problem they are facing? Very limited exchange of information among the institutions and between the information providers and the potential consumers. The awareness of the existence of electronic information system is very limited. There are no cross linkage between the information system, either since most of them are not available in the electronic form, or they may be very much in the secured manner. Then development objective. The project is to contribute to the national development in a number of ways. the primary development objectives are to provide the better coordination of the information facilities developed in the government and the private institutions, to improve and increase the exchange of information between the institutions, to provide the better means of access to the information. Another case is of ICT for improvement of district governance. The study revealed that most of the functions that are carried out by district commissioner office involve the manual processes and are in a greater extent ineffective and inefficient. As a result, the following weaknesses emerged: limited transparency, limited free flow of information which lead to the processes, sections, institutions, and information not to be directly accessible to those concerned with them, and less information provided to understanding and monitoring them. The development objective was, in order to bring good governance in the sum of the district, information to aid in decision making must be gathered. This can be done through ICTs. Now, the specific objective is to improve the efficiency and effectiveness in capturing and processing information obtained from the selected areas, facilities, utilization of the information system, output for the good governance, and the examine the sustainability of the entire process in view of the free charge on service rendered to the beneficiaries. Provide training to the staff in computerized information collection system, processing and disseminating it. Then the objectives of the project was the databases on health, education, birth, death, marriages, and that will create in district level to the facilitate the good governance, a skilled human resource based with ICT competencies in collection, processing, managing, and disseminating of the sector information, enhanced awareness within the government and among the general public on the use of information and decision making, and the application of ICT to the good governance. Challenges for the development: the uses of the range of information and communication technologies to improve the effectiveness, the efficiency, the service delivery, and to promote the democracy through the internet, local area network, and the mobile phones. Now, when we talk about, these are some of the examples and some of the challenges, warnings that has been mentioned. Now when we talk about the e-governance, what all the facilities, what all the areas we are looking for. When we talk about the governance, is the rule with authority that conduct the policy and affairs, to exercise the directing the influence, curb or control, to establish and maintain the social order. Assumption is that a set of people are controlling the rest of the society with certain rule of laws. So trust versus distrust models of the government. And what will be the goal of implementing all these e-governance will be transparency in the system, empowerment of the citizen through information, although already Right of Information Act is there, improved citizen services, efficiency in the decision making process, and efficient transactions with the industry. Now, reasons for induction of using the ICT in that: obviously, personal initiative of reform mind individual in the government, demand from citizen for better services, demand for better services from the investors leading to the competitive among states. IT is widely organized as a vital tool for reforms in the government, and high degree of IT awareness and education at all levels of the hierarchy, existence of hype about IT as a problem solver. Then the directions: the e-governance is in a very early stage of evolution. Islands of automation are getting created for varying sizes. Each of these islands of successful IT induction is growing and touching the other islands. Issues of standardization of interfaces, connectivity is being worked out. Larger number of portals are being developed as a mean for disseminating the information. Online services are being complemented for the citizens. Different initiatives are going on to re-engineer the old process to improve the service delivery through IT, and right environment to take the major initiatives to bring the e-governance is the government. Issues for the implementation is the psychological, changing over the perception or the expectations, fear of unknown, mindset change, fear of loss of power will be the psychological issues that will be really addressed before implementing or successfully implementing the e-governance in India. The management process re-engineering delays, level of confidence in the goal achievement, wasted interests, delay in decision making process, resources, the availability of the trained manpower in the government, larger investment communicate with the objectives, need to bring in the private partnership in the citizen services. Now strategy, the commitment for the transition. First of all, the commitment, the willpower of the government is important, or the implementing agency is important. In case of the motivation, cause of change, all can be curbed out if you have a proper right, a willpower to implement the strategy. The clear identification of the objectives and the priorities, focus on end-to-end deliverable instead of infrastructure, need to re-engineer the process, and the establishment of minimum e-governance infrastructure. Security issue for the information can be mobilized because of after implementing the storage and transmission systems and etc. And more important is training. Train to get the trained manpower, train the skilled people. And then transition of e-governance in the smaller stages. Avoid the IT induction with the major process re-engineering simultaneously. It will create a sense of uh, confusion in the process. And effective participation by one and all concerned in the process of transition. Backlog data entry, because now you are, suppose you are implementing the e-governance for the land reforms as the Bhumi is doing now, and while implementing that project, the government took around 1 year to enter the backlog, to do the backlog entry in the system. So that also has to be done, and transition from the present hierarchical structure of decision making to the horizontal structure is most important. Now, some of the plans that government is already implementing and the state government is following as well are the National E-Government Plan. The most projects in NEGP have been selected based on the replicability aspects. Similarly, as I said, depend upon the area, depend upon the manpower, depend upon the skills, depend upon the infrastructure in that area. Many the projects has been implemented by the government to simplify the process and to add the transparency in the system. The software developed once goes through the customization process. Several states have come up with the sustainable service model along with the central government. Some of the examples are, as I already said, that is the Bhumi, Vahan, Sarthi, MNIC, registration. I'll come upon this in detail. So the type of services we are talking about, the level of services, the categories of services that normally in the implemented in the e-governance are, number one is the government to citizen, G2C that I was discussed just before. And in the government to citizen services, the computerization of land record is the measure, because many time the citizen, the people of that area, local people, are not getting the information regarding the land. So in the most of the states of the country are either implemented or in the process to implement this computerization of the land record. By sitting at your desktop, you can find out the status of the land in that particular area. Then online delivery of the land record, again this is combined and it is called the Bhumi, and initially it was implemented in the state of the Karnataka, and now it has been implemented in other states also. Gyandut is the another e-governance portal, is been providing relevant information to the rural population. And other is the Lokmani project in Uttar Pradesh, and project Friend in Kerala, E-Mitra project in Rajasthan, E-Seva in Andhra Pradesh. And in some of these, like Gyandut is it is an internet-based G2C project. It is service delivery initiative. It was initiated to the Dhar district of Madhya Pradesh in January 2000, and with the twin objectives of providing the relevant information to the rural population and acting as an interface between the district administration and the people. And the Lokmani project in Uttar Pradesh, and it was is a public-private partnership project, and it is in a Sitapur district. It was implemented, and it was initiated in 2004, and its objective is to provide a single window and self-sustainable e-government solution, and with respect to handling of the grievances, land record maintenance, and providing the mixture of the essential services by the government of Uttar Pradesh. And Friend in Kerala, again, it is a reliable, instant, efficient networking of the distribution system in the Kerala, implemented in the government of the Kerala. And apart from that, the E-Mitra is an integrated project to facilitate the urban and the rural masses with the maximum possible services related to a different state government department through the Lok Mitra and Jan Mitra centers and kiosks. The E-Seva in Andhra Pradesh, this project is designed to provide the government to citizen and some part in the business to citizen also. The highlight of this E-Seva project is that all the services are delivered online to the customer or the citizens by connecting them to the respective government department and providing them the online information at the point of service delivery. Apart from that, the e-procurement project in Andhra Pradesh and MCA. E-procurement is to reduce the time and cost of doing business for both the vendors and the government. And other one is MCA 2.1, that is the Ministry of Corporate Affairs, that has been implemented recently and by the Ministry of Corporate Affairs. The project aimed to provide the easy and secure online access to all the registry related services provided by the Union Ministry of Corporate Affairs to the corporates and other stakeholders at any time and any manner for the best suit to them. Then other projects that is been that category that comes under is the government to government, and in that you have Khajane project in Karnataka. It is a comprehensive online treasury computerization project and of the government of Karnataka. The project has resulted in the computerization of the entire treasury related activities of the state government, and the system has the ability to track every activity right from the approval of the state budget to the point of rendering accounts to the government, and it is well being in place in the areas of Karnataka and is a comprehensive online treasury computerization system. Then you have the smart government in Andhra Pradesh. That smart government has been developed to streamline operations enhance efficiencies through workflow, automation, and knowledge management for the implementation in the Andhra Pradesh Secretariat. So these are some of the projects of the government that has been already implemented and well in place, and people are being getting help out of or getting benefited out of it. Apart from that, as has been discussed earlier also, it is a national e-government plan by the government of India. This national e-government plan takes a holistic approach of e-government initiatives across the country, and that is uh, integrating the into a collective vision, a shared cause, and it has been formulated by the Department of Electronics and Information Technology and Department of Administrative Reforms and Public Grievances in 2006. The NEGP aims at improving the delivery of government services to the citizen and business with the following vision: make all the government services accessible to the common man in their locality through common services delivery outlets, and ensure the efficiency, transparency, and reliability of such services at the affordable cost to realize the basic need of the common man. And other projects that is being either in the implementation phase or already being implemented are, uh, although it is a central government initiative, most of them is central government initiative, that are the Citizen Service Center. Apart from that, you have the e-office, and all know that the UID is already under the unique identification project, is already in the process of implementation. And the apart from that, the pensions also, the pensions is primarily aimed at making the pension retirement rate information services grievances, that also being implemented and in being given to the information given to the people, those who has been retired from the services in place, and their issues, their grievances is being handled properly. Apart from that, you have the national register for the vehicles, banking, pensions, public distribution system in some of the areas, that also being implemented. And that is the it is a computerized public distribution system, and it is invoiced at an end-to-end project covering key functional areas such as supply chain management, including allocation and utilization, reporting, storage, movement of food grains, grievance redressal, transparency portals, digitization of the beneficiary database, fair price soap. So that is being implemented, is under process to implement in the public distribution system. Similarly, is the e-procurement. Now the e-courts, most of the Supreme Court, the task of the Supreme Court is being the computerized now. Even you can get the reports of the court in at your desktop itself. What case, when it will go to which court it will go to, all this is being computerized now. The court mission made project. It is called the court mission made project, and it was conceptualized with a vision of transforming the Indian judiciary by making use of the technology. And this project has been developed following the project submitted by the e-government e-committee under the Supreme Court. And the NIC, Government of India, is in the forefront in the implementing agency for this e-court. Apart from that, all knows the Digital India, and is a part of implementing projects. And future trends, need for the future trend for the implementation, need for citizen-centric view of the governance, citizen being participant, then being recipient, then drastic change in the government. It will be drastically changed. The government process will be drastically changed by including the e-governance processes. Then standardize of the process and application, greater participation of the private vendors. uh, in fact, I wanted to show you next is now the concept has come is called the M governance. Now, after that e-governance, now it is the M governance, and which is being implemented with the three stakeholders, that is being the process and system, people, and the technology, and the structure that is uh, the being the part of that, and the people with the government, and the way it is being just I had been shown in the form of the figures. People within the government, what is their attitude, how they are working, functionality, and uh, what all the uh, mindset, attitude, and how the transformation in the government will take place once you implement the e-governance is from bureaucracies it will be going to the citizen centric, and from the fragmented it is going to be integrated from the auto authoritarian service oriented and democratic and from institution and enclosed decision making, and how the traditional and e-governance is going to change the use of resource. In the case of traditional it will be low, in case of e-governance it will be highest, and same way infrastructure, cost of service, speed of the service, transparency, participation. So the implementation of the e-governance and the plan of e-governance is going to affect all stakeholders in the government system, and the cost of transactions also, the cost effective also, speed of the service delivery is also being incredible. Now, global imperatives for e-government. Till then, if any center, if you can have any kind of suggestion, any kind of query, I can pause for 2-3 minutes. Any queries, any suggestions?
Any suggestions, ma'am? Quick queries? मैम कुछ बोलना चाह रहे हो क्या? क्या बोल रहे हैं मैम? ये लो दे दो पीछे दे दो हमें तो सब समझ में आया, कोई डाउट नहीं रहा। नहीं मेरे को समझ में आया, कोई डाउट ही नहीं है। समझ में आ गया, वही तो डाउट है। आपने पूछा सर? मैंने पूछ लिया, हमें सब समझ आ गया। पूछ रहा है मैंने कुछ बताओ कोई सजेशंस करो कोई हो डाउट नहीं हो सर अभी सजेशन है कि स्क्रीन बड़ा हो जाए 3 दिन में हुआ
All right, then if not, let me move to the further. The benefits, although some of the benefits already been discussed, and to be more specific, more precise upon it, the benefit that I could able to collect was the law and policy making. The e-governance can be a catalyst for legal reforms and wider and faster disseminating of laws, faster and better formulation of the policies, better regulations, registration and licensing, speed, taxation, better revenues, environmental regulations, that better compliances can be achieved, transportation policies, more transparency, more efficient services to citizen and business, better image, cost cutting, better targeting and benefits, and control on the corruption. And in business, increased velocity of the business, ease of doing business with government, better investment climate, and transparency. And of course, benefits to the citizen is cost and time saving, certainly in getting the services, better quality of the life, ease of access of the information, added convenience, multiple delivery channels, possibility of the self-services. Seven principles of the e-governance. Transformation, that transportation of the is a again the stakeholders in including the implementing the e-governance is the process, people, and the technology. If you take this graph, then these are the proportions, these are the people, those who can affect the implementation of e-governance. Is the 60% is the people, is the technology, and 15% and 25% is the process. So all stakeholders can take part and are important for implementing the e-governance at on their own proportion. And implementing the process, obviously that is the proportion that can be visualized, is the 40% is the people, and then 35% is the process, and 20% is the technology, and 5% is by luck, by chance. So in implementing the projects, the people plays an important role. And the ingredients of the transformation is department centric approach to the customer centric approach, process orientation to the service orientation, output based assessments to the outcome based assessments, departmental view to the integrated view. So these will be the transformation of implementing the e-governance in the for the better benefits of the citizen. Additional benefits, there are certain other social benefits from the e-governance reaching isolated rural communities. That will be the increased productivity, especially in case of the farmers of the country, and the social integration. Then principle 2, a holistic approach has to be taken, and in that all stakeholder has to be perform their duties similarly. The process reform management, process management, change management, resource management, procurement management, and technology management has to be worked. The same 7 areas of management has to work simultaneously to implement the e-governance project in an area effectively. And the 4 pillars of the e-governance is the people, process, technology, and the resources. And the people, those for whom we are, that they should be accepting the e-governance and the changes, and the process should be easy and to be adaptable. Technology should be reachable, and the resources again to be implemented effectively. Then issues of in adopting the holistic approaches, lack of appreciation of the need of holistic approach, complexity in the project implementation, time taking, 5 to 8% additionally in overall project cost, lack of expertise in adopting the holistic approach, and lack of patience. And the number of challenges already being discussed a lot, and a systematic approach through EGRM. In fact, I wanted to show you some of the projects that has been implemented. These are some of the examples of the e-governance. Then change management. Change management is important to handle effectively because the citizen of the country is not accepting the change very easy. So change management is about the managing the people in a changing environment, so that the business changes are successful and the desired business results are they realized. As given the example in the beginning, the citizens are mainly in the rural area. They are very much set on their own old system, and they are very much reluctant to change. So in that, changing their old pattern, their set system, set patterns to a new, altogether new approach will be very much difficult. So in that, change management is about the managing the people, and if your business changes are so that the business changes are successful and the desired business results are realized, in that this is the important portion to be addressed effectively. And what all the principle of the change management is, sender and receiver of the communication must be in synchronized. So there should be a mechanism for sending the information and the receiving the information. As I said, this is the diverse area. In the diversity, it becomes very much important to receive and send the information to various people, those who can understand the same message effectively. Access the level of resistance and comfort. As I discussed, the level of resistance and their comfort level. Most of the people will go in the comfortable level in their old system. To change them altogether in the new system, new process will be difficult. Authority for change must be sufficient and continuous. So the willpower of the implementing authority is important for the change. Value system in the organization should support the change management. Change should be of the right quantum. The right answer is not enough. Change is a process and not an event. Change is a continuous process. So the technology has to be adopted in a gradual way. Then necessities, the principle 6, the government necessities, that is capacity building. So capacity building can be done through the program development, program management, leadership and the vision, and the project development and the project management. The preparation of the roadmap, the prioritization and monitoring frameworks, interagency collaborations, fund management, and the conceptualization, architecturization. So all these require for the capacity building. Then the next principle, last, is the top level sponsorship, leadership. Then the role of the leadership will be becoming champion of the e-government, to achieve the changes of the mindset, to create an environment for the innovation, to provide the adequate resources, removing barriers, to overcome the employee resistance, to achieve the cross-agency coordinations, to create confidence in private sector, to partner the government, taking the hard decisions, to take the risk, to achieve the effective government process or the re-engineering, articulating the need for the citizen and the business. And finally, the conclusion. Information technology had made the impressive inroads into the Indian society and the government alike. It is widely viewed as a tool having tremendous potential to solve the various problems facing the society and improve the government functioning. It is also recognized that the process of inducting of information technology is not a straightforward task. It needs a careful planning, a tactful handling, and sufficient patience to ensure a smooth transition to the era of information technology-led development in India. With the rapid explosion of the information technology and internet technology in the world, in the last few years, there is a need to think where we will be and we want to be in the future. With the time grows, new technology will come and develop at a rapid pace. The countries that are faster in adopting the technology have started reshaping and reaping the benefit already. The government managers should quickly learn to use technology-fueled management tools for administrative efficiency and use them for a more value-added service to the citizen. Several hindrances like delay in project implementation, spiraling cost, financial feasibility, and financial sustainability, along the technical bottleneck and integration with the government department and the states. Thank you very much. Thank you. Any question, any suggestion? Sorry?
In your slides, you say that word
Right.
government or governance. So, what is the difference between governance and government?
Government, normally governance is, as I said, governance is having two tasks. Number one is to safeguard the rights. Number one is to safeguard the right of the citizen. And number two is to provide access to the facility or the public services, or to check to see is the development or the economical growth is reaching equally to all or not. And government is who is delivering that, who is the responsible for that. In my opinion, that definitions has been created. So government, who is the agency, who is the person, who is delivering, who is governing. And these are the issues, these are the areas where the governance is required. That there is the place where we have a lots of discrepancies was found on distributing the public services. That's why there is a gap between, as I said in the beginning, there is a big gap between the people, those who are governance, who are called the governor, who is providing the governance, and the person who are actually require it. And that, and moreover, there is a e gap between the government and the citizen. So that e gap has to be fulfilled with the help of the technology, with the help of the ICT, which can play an important role on providing all these information, as I said in the beginning. After the successfulness of some of the projects by the government, and now many government agencies has been they're being in the process to implement further and to put all the other public facilities, public related aspect issues in the e-government or in the information system. So that's why that is the relevance of implementing the e-governance, which will provide the transparency in the system. Moreover, it will create an accountability. Now the government will be accountable. Now the agency will be accountable, rather. I will not call it government. Suppose if I am a public work department, then the work I am doing, the work I am supposed to do, I'll be more accountable if it is implemented or if it is provided through e-governance. So, but right now, whatever we are talking about e-governance, it is majorly implemented in the metro cities or the urban areas. The rural community still is untouchable, is not being implemented that much, wherein it is mostly required. The information is required. Information, as I said, mostly in the agricultural sector, wherein the farmers do not know which crop to be planted after which crop, and what is the water level, what is the soil habit, what is the patterns in the soil. So in that case, the government can transfer the information regarding the weather condition, regarding the soil patterns in that area, regarding the water availability in that area, regarding other resources in that area, which will greatly help the people in that community. And obviously, as I said in the last, it will really create an impact on the economy. Any other centers from any other?